You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host. I'm thrilled to be with you today. And our guest wants to be a Nevada State Senator. He wants to represent District 1. His name, Greg Taylor. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mel. I think if I had a voice like you, I might not run for Senate. I might be a radio host, but thanks for having me.
Well, we are thrilled to have you on board. You are very interesting. You're a very interesting candidate. You are a candidate and you're representing the Forward Party. Tell us about the Forward Party.
You got it. So the Forward Party was co-founded by a Republican, former two-term New Jersey Senator and EPA Secretary Christine Todd Whitman, and a Democrat, former Democrat candidate for President Andrew Yang. So you had two of the people who are well known inside their parties come together and say, let's look at this thing differently. And so the Forward Party is focused, Mel, on down ballot individuals in elections. So we're not looking at, U.S. senators or president. We're focused on school boards and local legislatures and city councils. And so that's where the Forward Party has its complete and total laser-like focus. We're in Nevada, one of those states that they chose. There are 12 states that they picked out to say, we really want to support what's going on. They feel like Nevada's got some major issues. We all know they do. We also know how important Nevada is across the country. So I am eager to represent them here in Nevada.
How did you connect with the Forward Party?
Strangely enough, so I have been a lifetime Republican. But the minute I saw Trump come down the elevator and the Republicans didn't denounce him, I began to say, I've been politically active all my life, but I'm not sure where I fit. I happen to have somebody that I knew connect me with a couple of folks that wanted to talk about the Forward Party. And so I had a conversation with them. I got an understanding of what they're doing. Christine Todd Whitman came into town. I went and visited with her. We had a great conversation, and I fell in love with the idea that local politicians can come up with their own platform. It's not a platform that's given to us by Forward. Unlike the Democrats and Republicans, we don't have to pledge fealty to what Washington, D.C. wants. We can actually look our constituents in the eye, ask them questions, and try to deliver on that.
Why do you want to be a state senator?
I think the legislative branch of government, Mel, has some tremendous power. And I don't think most of our constituents even know that or understand it. We get to hold the purse strings. And so how money is spent, what that legislation looks like, I truly believe is important. I do think that in Nevada, we have some challenges that I don't think are being met. And so for that reason, I think that I can ask the right questions, come up with the right solutions, and help the people here in North Las Vegas.
Talk to us about your platform. You say that the Forward Party doesn't give you a platform. You're able to come up with your own platform. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I enjoy that question now. When I first started, I didn't like it so much because my response was honest. And my response was, let me go talk to people first. And then from there, I think I'll be able to develop a platform. Okay. And so we really narrowed it down to three things, all to do with security: economic security, housing security, and education security. I believe that all of those things are important. I think instability in those areas is a challenge, and they can be solved through legislation. So when I have somebody come up and ask me, hey, what are you going to do about immigration? Nothing. I'm running for state senate. There's nothing I can do about immigration. But these issues are for real, and they affect our area. And I think we can come up with some solutions to help move us in the right direction.
All right, let's start talking about solutions to housing.
So we've got two big issues. One is I want to buy a house side of the ledger.
Yes.
And the other is the I'm a renter side of the ledger. Two totally separate things, but combined, they create challenges. So I'm going to start on the mortgage side. One of my house right now, unfortunately, the houses that are being built are costing $450,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
Yes.
So if I'm just a regular person out there that's working very, very hard, to be able to come up with 20% of that for a down payment is a challenge.
Yes.
With the mortgage rates now being at 7-8%, I've priced myself out. And so while we see these new developments coming up, the regular average person can't qualify to get into one of those houses, even if they've got great credit and they've had a good job. It takes a lot of money to get in there. We're just not seeing what I would term affordable houses that are being, I just am not seeing it. On the rental side, there's no rent control. And so rents are skyrocketing.
Yes, they are.
Incomes are not. And so suddenly you're afraid that when it comes to the 11th month of your lease, when you get the new lease sent to you, that your rent payment could go up $200, $300, $800. I've seen it go up $1,400 because the owner believes they can get it. And on the rental side, we also have a lot of large corporations that have come in and bought up a ton of houses.
A ton.
Yes. Yeah, Mel. Yeah. And so you look at that and say, okay, so they're saying we have enough money, but we can wait till we find somebody that can pay $2,800 for this place. And so it's a long wait for somebody that could have rented that house from a regular Billy Bob, who's got a second house and pay $1,400. They now are stuck paying $2,800 because this corporation owns it and they can wait out the market. It's a real problem. And I think the reason why I use the term security on all of these is people don't have secure housing. You could be in a place now that you could find out you can't even afford on January 1st. And so now you have to move.
That's
and
true.
People think, Mel, that moving is just moving. It's not. If you have kids and you move to a different spot, it could be 2 blocks over. It's a new, totally different school. Yes. Right. So there is a ton of upheaval here. And I just don't feel like it's being addressed legislatively. I didn't see it addressed in the last session. In fact, it moved in the other direction when the governor vetoed the CARES Act. And so we've got 300 to 500 people a day that are being evicted. This is a serious challenge that doesn't get enough focus by our legislature, I think.
All right, I like that. Let's talk about economic security.
So, man, I tell you what, you get on I-215 here in North Las Vegas, and if you take it from 95 and you go all the way out to 15, you actually see a ton of new buildings that are going up that are commercial buildings.
A lot of building going on.
Absolutely, Mel. And it is so refreshing to see because you want to see your community grow. And we certainly are doing a great job of attracting businesses here. My challenge is the jobs that those businesses are offering are $15, $16 an hour jobs. So while there are openings, making $15 or $16 an hour is not a living wage. And so it's great to see that business is growing, but we haven't really forced the people who are getting these permits to build to say, as part of your program, you need to have jobs that start here, or we're not going to subsidize this. We're not going to give tax incentives for jobs that are $15 an hour. Like, where are our people going to work? And in North Las Vegas, let's face it, we're a little bit locked in. It's a pretty good run down to Vegas. So it's, for some people that need public transportation, it's a challenge.
Think those jobs should pay?
I think you've got to get to the living wage area. And so I think it needs to, on the bottom end, to be closer to 18. I think that gives people a chance to monthly afford their bills. I would prefer, though, that if we're giving any tax subsidies, we need to get that pay up to $25 to $30 an hour. And it can be done. Instead of us giving money away, I think we can find a way to work with businesses for them to be able to offer jobs at a much better wage.
All right. Now, I'd like for you to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart: education security.
So I am a big proponent of education. My oldest son is a lawyer in Baltimore. My youngest son is a doctor in Northern California. They say brains skip a generation, so I guess that's what happened to me. But getting a great education is critical. I did not move my stepson to Las Vegas when I came. My wife and stepson stayed where they were until he graduated, because that's how bad Clark County schools are. I believe we've got the worst school district in the Western United States. That's a problem. I believe that when you've got a school district where 52% of your high school seniors did not graduate, where your English proficiency is only at 22%, and where your math proficiency is 5.6%, this is a crisis. Because if young people who are our future, if they can't get a basic education, they're not going to be able to get into great colleges. And now this repeating issue of $15 an hour jobs, that maybe that's all they're qualified for without an education. It doesn't make sense. Now, I will say this. People believe the solution is throwing money at this. I believe the money is out there. I just believe it has not been spent properly in order to solve our problem. And then one thing that affects people that look like you and I, we have a teacher shortage of 1,706 teachers. We just don't have enough teachers. Well, of that 1,706 missing teachers, 71% of that total are in schools that are majority Black and brown colored kids, meaning that we, people that look like us, are having our issues compounded. Even though we're paying our fair share of taxes and we're sending our child to school, they are not set up for success when 71% of a gap in teachers is directly affecting folks that look like you and I.
You've done a great job of articulating the problems. Give me the solution to one of those problems.
So if you want to start with housing, I believe there are some affordable housing opportunities there. I believe that there are different cities throughout the country, Houston, for example, that's done a very good job of creating affordable housing and also moving people from homelessness into a place where they can also be stabilized and secured. I mean, a lot of people think that you're only homeless if you're a drug addict or you're an alcoholic. That's not true. A lot of people are a paycheck and a half away from being homeless. You can't get your rent payment in time because you got fired. You could very well be homeless when that 3 days to pay rent notice gets on your door. Yeah. So I believe that we can look outside of where we're at currently. I believe the land management, the BLM, there's a lot of property here that we could look at to build affordable housing. And I believe that we can force developers to pay their fair share and build houses along with the expensive ones. No problem with that. But we can force them as part of their getting permission to build affordable housing. On the education side, I think that I like the guy. He seems like a nice guy. I've met him twice. He's been very personable, Jesus Jara. But the track record is clear. You failed. And so I think we need to make a move and get him out of his role and find somebody else to come in here and run Clark County school districts. I believe on those two issues, there are really quick solutions that we can try to get to in order to better ourselves.
How do our listeners contact you?
You can reach me directly by phone. Listen, I like to talk to people. So you can call me at area code 702-703-2260. You can go to my website, which is www.taylor2024.com, taylor2024.com. Either one of those, you can reach out. I'll be sure to get back because that's where I get my ideas from, is talking to folks that have issues.
I've loved talking to you. The Forward Party is a new party, new concept. How much support do you get?
Been very fortunate. The CEO of the Forward Party has made it clear that the party itself is going to help fund my campaign. They are sending me out to meet with donors. And the momentum for the campaign, I think, is picking up because it's really grassroots. I met with people on Sunday that are all small business owners, probably 30 small business owners, just to talk about the issues that they have. And I was surprised how many people had heard of me. And it's not because of me. I think it's just the message is good and people are talking about it. So I think the funding is going to be there. I think the Democrats are going to battle it out on their side. The Republicans didn't run anybody in District 1 last time. So we'll see how it plays out. But I'm confident that with the right message, even though we're a third party, we can pull off an upset.
Greg, I wish you a lot of luck. What would you like to leave our listening audience with?
I'd like to say this. It's the very first question I ask anybody is your life circumstance better off today than it was 4 years ago? And do you not recognize that the same politicians have held office here for 12 consecutive years? And if you want to make change, you have to have courage. It takes courage to make change. And so do you have the courage to change? Because if you do, we need to look at somebody else that might be able to solve our issues rather than just running for a different office, a different office, a different office. Let's go fix some problems first and see what we can earn.
Greg, thank you for joining us today.
Mel, thank you for having me. I appreciate what you guys do for the community.
You've been listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tiller, your host, and until next time, keep it 100.